Dear students and my teacher friends, Namaskar. I welcome you to the presentation lecture on the activities of the gastrointestinal tract. Now, before I start this presentation lecture, I would like to tell you few things about this presentation lecture. The first thing is that the examiner is never going to frame multiple choice question from this lecture. Once again, I am telling you, examiner is never going to frame MCQ from this presentation lecture. Now then, you might be wondering why I am taking this lecture. What is the use of this lecture? See, the thing is, when you go to cinema hall to watch the movie, you go there on time and you watch the entire movie. You leave your home right in time and you enter the cinema hall right in time and you go through the entire movie. So when we are going through the entire movie, so here this is the digestive system. So you need to go through all the aspect of this chapter. For example, you need to be aware which are the digestive organ, which are the accessory digestive organ, what are their role, what are their structures, which are the activities that are taking place amongst them. So you should be familiar with this. Okay, so now if even if you are not interested to attend this lecture, I am showing you this table. So with the help of this table you can prepare this presentation lecture by your own. So you go through this table. Okay, and this table is covering this entire presentation lecture. Okay, now I am starting this presentation lecture. Now this is the concept map for the digestive system. In one of the physiology book I found this, so I am showing you this. Okay, so you can go through this concept map. Then this way, then this figure. On left hand side, major organ of the digestive tract, that the oral cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine. And on the right hand side, the accessory organs of the digestive system: teeth, tongue, salivary gland, liver, gallbladder, and the pancreas. Okay, now this is also useful table, organs of the digestive system. So they have divided the organs of the digestive system into two parts. The first part, the segments of the gastrointestinal tract, and the second thing, that the accessory organs. So all the names. So in your syllabus you need to study, for example, oral cavity or the buccal cavity, that is the mouth, then the structure of pharynx, then the structure of esophagus, histology of esophagus, what are the functions of esophagus, similarly the structure, histology of stomach, function of stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum. Okay, then accessory organ, how many salivary glands are there, what are their names, minor salivary gland, major salivary gland, where they are opening, what are their secretions. Okay, then the tongue, then teeth, then liver, gallbladder, pancreas, appendix. So you need to study all this thing, all this organ, all these structures in the digestive system. Now, this point, digestive system and body metabolism. Okay. Now here, as you can see, what the role the digestive system is playing in our body. So the digestive system break down the food that we eat. Okay, and with the help of digestive system we break our food, and by that we are getting the nutrients, and these nutrients are very important, very vital for the metabolic processes or the cellular activities of the body. Okay, then the nutrients are also important for formation of the ATP. At the same time, the digestive system removes the undigested food, waste material, and the fibers. Okay, so in our food, fibers are there. So the undigested fibers, they are removed by our digestive system. Okay, so what the digestive system is doing in our body. Now, how digestive system works in our body. So with the help of our teeth we chew our food. Okay, and why we are chewing? So by the chewing the food we are converting our food into small pieces, and once these small pieces are formed, so the enzyme can easily act upon these small pieces. Okay, that's why we chew the food in our mouth with the help of our teeth. Once the food is chewed, then the enzyme starts to act upon the chewed food, and then this enzyme start the chemical digestion of the food. Okay, and after the chemical digestion the nutrients, they enter into the blood, and via the blood and the lymph they enter into the body cells. Okay, this is how the digestive system works, and why digestive system. So why digestive system is important, why it is essential in our body. So digestive system is providing the energy, and it is also providing the building blocks which are required for the maintenance of our life. Okay, moving forward. Now here, this is also a very good concept map. For example, ingestion. Okay, so ingestion, whatever the food you are taking or whatever the liquid that we are taking, for example the sarbats and the lassis, okay, which are made from the curd that we are taking. So all this is the food material. Okay, so the solid thing and the liquid food substance, so we are taking in our mouth, that process is known as the ingestion. So when we have ingested the food, then the mechanical digestion start. Okay, so we are in mechanical digestion. What is included? The chewing of food in our mouth with the help of teeth, that is mechanical digestion. Okay, then with the help of our tongue the bolus is made, and we engulf this bolus. That process is known as the engulfing the bolus, that is the swallowing. Okay, so now once this bolus is made, so the process of propulsion occurs in the GI tract. So swallowing, engulfing the food. Then this bolus, as you can see, it is moving in the GI tract. The bolus is not stationary in the GI tract, and how it is moving, okay, into the entire length of this GI tract. For example, the food, as you can see, the bolus is right now in the esophagus, and it is entering into the stomach. Okay, so this bolus, it enters from esophagus to the stomach by the process of peristalsis. And the peristalsis is the contraction and relaxation of the smooth muscles of the GI tract. Okay, so this peristalsis is not only taking place in the walls of the esophagus, it is also taking place in the walls of the stomach, then the small intestine, then the large intestine. So the digested food moves in the entire GI tract by the process of peristalsis. And the swallowing and the peristalsis, these two process, they are known as the propulsion. Okay, these two things, swallowing, these two process, swallowing and peristalsis, they are included under the heading of propulsion. Now, the from esophagus, as you can see, the food is entering into the stomach. Okay, now once the food enters into the stomach, the food is churned. And what is churning? See, the wall of stomach contract and relax, and at the same time the wall of stomach is also secreting the gastric juice from the gastric gland. So the food is mixed with the gastric juices, and the digestion starts in the stomach. Okay, and the churning means the mixing of gastric juice, okay, with the help of the contraction and relaxation of the muscles of the stomach wall. Okay, so that is the meaning of churning. And segmentation, where it is taking place. So segmentation is occurring in the small intestine. Segmentation means the breaking of the large molecule or large food material into smaller food particle. That is the meaning of the segmentation. Okay, and chemical digestion. So where the chemical digestion takes place, where the chemical digestion is taking place, so chemical digestion is taking place into the stomach with the gastric juice, then in the small intestine, let's say in the duodenum, with the help of the bile that is secreted by the liver, then the pancreatic juice, then the wall of small intestine, that it is secreting the intestinal juice. Okay, so all these juices, they are containing various enzymes, and they perform the chemical digestion. Okay, so that is the meaning of chemical digestion. And when this chemical digestion is completed in the intestine, the digested food material, let's say the glucose, okay, we eat the carbohydrate. So when the carbohydrate is digested, we get the glucose. We eat protein. From protein we get the amino acid. We eat lipids, so from lipid we are getting the fatty acid and alcohol. Then nucleic acid, DNA, RNA, so we are getting the nucleotides. So all this digested molecule, okay, they are entering into the blood and the lymph. So blood entering the blood vessel and lymph vessel, that process is known as absorption. So absorption is also taking place in the intestine. Then in large intestine, what is happening? The undigested food is there along with the digested food. Okay, and from this food, this water molecules are absorbed. Okay, so now what is happening from large intestine? the undigested food, then the waste material, then the bacteria, all this thing, and the cells which are slug off from the GI tract, all this thing, they are accumulated in the rectum, and from the rectum, this fecus is entering is this fecus is entering into the anus, and from the anus we are removing it from our body to the outside. Okay, so that process of removal of fecus from our body is known as defecation. So once again you go through this chart, so you will get the idea that which are the activities that are taking place in the gastrointestinal tract. Now this table I have already shown to you. Okay, now this point. Okay, now GI tract is having, it's containing the food. Okay, so GI tract is containing the food by the time we are eating it, by the time, the moment we eat the food. So we can say that GI tract contains the food when we are eating. Okay, then the food that we have eaten, it is digested, and then it is absorbed, and finally it will be eliminated from the GI tract. Okay, to the outside. Now this point, muscular contraction. Okay, so the smooth muscle of the GI tract, they rhythmically contract and relax, and this contraction and the relaxation of the GI tract muscle, they break down the food. Okay, and this is known as the physical breakdown of the food. Okay, and at the same time, for example, in the stomach, I have already explained this, how the churning is performed and how the food is propelled, that the swallowing and peristalsis. Okay, and the due to the peristalsis, food passes from esophagus towards the anus. Okay, now the third point, the contraction of the GI tract, the smooth muscles, they also help to dissolve the food. Okay, with the fluid secreted into the GI tract. For example, the gastric juice, or the bile, or the pancreatic juice, or the intestinal juice. So all these juices which are having the enzyme for the digestion, these juices, these fluids, they mix up with the food, with the help of contractions of the GI tract. Now, the enzymes, what the enzymes are doing. Okay, so enzymes are responsible for the breakdown of the food. Okay, let's say, for example, protein. So on protein, protease will act upon, and there is a very detailed process, but I'm just trying to explain few things. Let's say there are not only the single enzyme is involved, there are many enzymes are involved in this digestion. But let's say when the protein is ultimately, when it is digestion is completed, so we are getting the amino acid from carbohydrate, let's say amylase, maltase, sucrase, lactase. So with the help of all this enzyme, ultimately we are getting glucose, then lipid, then lipase, we are getting fatty acid and alcohol, DNA, RNA, we are getting the nucleotides. Okay, with the help of enzyme nuclease. So the role of enzyme is to break down the food, so that is chemical digestion. Now our digestive system performs six basic processes. The first process, okay, that is known as the ingestion. Now the what is ingestion? Let's say you eat the rice, okay, or the chapatis or the rotis, okay, and various kind of curries that you eat. So all this, um or various kinds of, let's say you are having the, you are drinking the cold drink. So that means this, all this solid and liquids that we intake, that is included, that is termed as the process of ingestion. Okay, so in short, taking the solids and the liquids, food material in our mouth, that is known as the ingestion. Okay, now the secretion. Now GI tract, GI tract plus accessory digestive organ. For example, let's say salivary gland plus accessory digestive. I'm talking about the accessory digestive. So salivary gland plus the liver plus the pancreas. Salivary gland, saliva, liver, bile, pancreas, pancreatic juice. Okay, then the GI tract, let's say stomach, then the, so stomach, the wall of stomach, gastric juice, intestine, intestinal juice. So all these juices, okay, and all this secretion together, their volume is 7 liter. Okay, and this 7 liter secretion, okay, of GI tract and from the accessory digestive organ, this 7 liter secretion contains water, acid, buffers, and enzymes. And this 7 liter secretion is poured into the lumen of GI tract. Okay, then this point. Okay, so this point I have already explained to you, and mixing and propulsion, that is the churning and propulsion peristaltic movement. I have already explained to you how the food is moving from esophagus to stomach, then small intestine, then large intestine, then the rectum, okay, then towards the anus. So that is the propulsion. Okay, then the fourth point. See, digestion, there are two types of digestion. One is mechanical digestion and the other one is the chemical digestion. So, the food that we chew in our mouth with the help of our teeth, that is mechanical digestion. Okay, so with the help of our teeth, what we are doing, so we are basically, we are cutting our food, and at the same time we are also grinding our food. Okay, and then the bolus is made, the saliva mixes with the food, and the tongue helps in the formation of bolus, and that bolus we engulf, we swallow. Okay, then then this thing, the chemical digestion. So I have already explained you about the chemical digestion, the digestion which is taking place with the help of various enzymes, okay, of the secretions of the stomach, small intestine, bile, and pancreatic juice. So the digestion which is taking place in the GI tract with the help of enzyme is known as the chemical digestion. Okay, so with the help of enzyme, carbohydrate, lipid, protein, and nucleic acid, they will be converted into very simple molecule. Let's say carbohydrate converted into glucose, lipid, fatty acid, alcohol, protein, amino acid, nucleic acid, that is into nucleotide. Okay, so this is the chemical digestion. Then this thing, okay, the catabolic reaction. So the digestive enzyme of salivary gland, then the stomach, pancreas, small intestine, they catalyze the catabolic reaction. So catabolic reaction means the breaking down of the large food particle into smaller molecule. That is the catabolic reaction. And what happens once the food is digested? Some of the food substance, they are absorbed directly. For example, the uh, without the chemical digestion, there are some food substances that can be absorbed. This include the vitamins, ions, cholesterol, and water. Then the absorptions. Absorption, mean what is the meaning of absorption? So let's say the process of digestion has completed in the intestine, and in the GI tract we are having glucose, amino acid, then the fatty acid, alcohol, nucleotides. So all these small molecules, they enter into the epithelial cell of the GI tract, and from there they enter into the blood vessel or the lymphatic vessel, and via the medium of blood they finally reaches into our body cell. So that process is known as the absorption. Okay, and the final process is the defecation. So I have already explained you this. The defecation means the removal of feces. So what is there in the feces? So the waste material are there, the undigested, indigested food substances, the bacteria, then the cells which are slug off from the lining of the GI tract. Okay, then the digested food, completely digested food. Okay, all this collectively makes the fecus. Okay, and the fecus enters into rectum. For some time it is stored over into rectum, and then finally from the anus we are removing the fecus outside our body, and that process is known as the defecation. So with this I have completed this presentation lecture on the activities of the GI tract. I hope with this you have got the idea how you need to approach the digestive system and how you will prepare the organs of the digestive system. Okay, my name is Manish Kosti sir. I am from Ahmedabad, India. Bye bye. Namaste.